This is the full breakdown of the Toy Story 5 movie premiere coming from a content creator and influencer that got invited to this event. I'm going to give you guys the full breakdown. Yes, Taylor Swift was there. She did a surprise performance with Randy Newman. I'm going to get into that. This is going to be multiple parts, okay? But I'm not going to skimp on a single detail. Okay, so first things first, it was on Hollywood and Highland. As you can see, they shut down Hollywood Boulevard. There's a giant press tent. We're going to head over to security and then go to Will Call to pick up our tickets. So here we are waiting in line to get to security, and these are all content creators and invited guests. This is the Will Call area where you go and you pick up your tickets. You also get paired up as a content creator and an influencer. They pair you up with an usher, and that usher will go and take you onto the carpet so that you could get your photo taken. Now, this is the carpet. This was a massive carpet that they had all across Hollywood Boulevard. Now, typically, if you go into a movie premiere, they'll have a carpet, and then as soon as the movie will start, they'll break down the carpet, and then everybody will go to the after party area, wherever it is. But this was the after party area. So they had all of this open for the after party, which I'll get to in like another part. Like I said, it was a massive event. I've got a lot to cover. But anyway, as you can see, we're on this side of the hedge. This is where all the content creators, influencers, invited guests were going down towards the theater. And then on the other side of the hedge were named talent, people that were in the film. That was their carpet. As you can see, they have a bunch of backdrops. There's Joan Cusack over there. She was on the carpet. It was really cool to see. Now we're on the other side of this part of the carpet, and this was where Portia was. As you can see, there's the three characters as Portias that were featured. They had this area open as well for the after party, but like I said, there was so much to do at the after party that I did not. We walked here, we grabbed a poster at the very end of the evening before we left, but this is all the content that I got of these cars. Okay, so now we're going into the press tent. As you can see, this press tent is massive. Everybody's kind of sitting around so they could take videos and photos of celebrities. It was rumored that Taylor Swift was going to be there, so I can understand why people would want to sit and try to get a photo of her. However, as a content creator and an influencer that got invited to this event, you only have a finite amount of time before you're allowed to go on the carpet. Otherwise, if they shut it, you lose your chance of getting a photo on the carpet. So it's really important that you stay focused and then, follow whoever you're supposed to follow so that you get your photo. Otherwise, you miss your opportunity. And that's one of the reasons why, if you go to these events in exchange for sharing the event on your social media to your audience, you get a chance to walk the carpet. Now, this carpet was massive. There was so much film talent. There was so much name talent that was there. Like I said, Taylor Swift was rumored to be there. They had the content creators and influencers on a separate step and repeat. And they'll do that sometimes if it's really, really big or they need to break up the areas because, they want to avoid congestion. So this was our step and repeat. As you can see, it's over here. This was the main entrance into the theater. So everybody had to walk down that way to get in. There's Sky's dress. Look how beautiful it was. Everybody was saying how beautiful her dress was. She just looked stunning. She was like the belle of the ball. As you can see here, there wasn't as much press, but they did have a Getty photographer there. Here you could see the girl is collecting their slates, and that slate is basically a paper that has your name on it. And the Getty photographer will go take a photo of your name on that paper. And then when they take your photo, they can match your name to your photo, and then they can put it on the website. So that's basically what it is. So this is Sky and I on the step and repeat. It was really, really fast. As you can see, there wasn't a huge line of photographers like there usually is on the carpet, but it was just one photographer for Getty, and we got one photo, and it was great. And Sky brought her Jessie doll with her. Okay, so now we're heading into the theater. I wouldn't typically head into the theater. I would try to hang back a little bit and try to get more content of other stuff. However, because I have my daughter with me, it makes it 10 times more difficult. And so, you just have to cut your losses and just head into the theater, grab your stuff and sit down. So these are the concessions that they had for everyone. They had buckets of popcorn, which were actually quite delicious, even though they were popped earlier. And then they had a variety of sodas and waters. So the Dolby Theater is quite spectacular. It's got 3 levels. As you can see, that's where concessions were. I was trying to tell Sky, this is where the Oscars are. And she's like, what's an Oscar? And I was like, don't worry about it. Now, this is a theater. As you can see, it's a little bit empty. It's quite empty because we're quite early. So this, I have to share, that's Taylor Swift's mom and dad. There's Taylor Swift. everybody has their phone out. As soon as she walked in the door, everybody pulls their phone out, and you can see everybody move. As you can see, look, everybody has their phone out. That's what I was looking at. And I was like, what is everybody looking at? And it was Taylor Swift. And I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard Swiftie. I would say like I appreciate her music. I think her music is great and wonderful. I've never seen her with my own eyes, so this was really great to see. This was a sight to see. Just everybody taking their phones out. As soon as you walk into a room, everybody have their phone out. That is wild. Okay, so last we left off, Taylor Swift walks into the building. Everybody starts taking their phones out. Everybody's taking pictures of her and video. Very shortly after, the movie starts, and then the lights go dim, and then everybody's watching the movie. Up here now. Now, if you want my honest opinion on the movie, I thought it was fantastic. It was so good. And I'm not saying that just because they invited me to the event. I'm saying that truly because Pixar knows what they're doing. They take a very heated, sensitive topic, the devices with kids, and they're able to address that so beautifully in a way that the kids are able to understand it and the adults are able to understand it, on top of all of the elements that go into a film, like the storyline, character development, character relationships, adding comedic beats in there, and also showcasing all of the previous characters and the nostalgic characters that you've had all throughout this timeline, the 30 years of Toy Story, and bringing all those toys in. I mean, that's a very complicated task, and there's so many layers and textures that go into creating this fifth film within this universe, and I think they did that so beautifully. So that's my opinion on it. I think if you're a parent, you're really going to appreciate this message. It's definitely worth the watch, and I think the kids are going to think it's so funny. That was the first thing that Sky said, was that it was a funny movie, so she really enjoyed it, and I think it's definitely worth the watch. Okay, now we're getting closer to the Taylor Swift surprise performance, which I'll get to, guys, I promise, just right after this. I have to preface it by telling you guys about like the credits. So the credits start rolling, and typically, even at any movie theater, people will get up and leave. And studios have gotten really sneaky about adding things in the credits, like little animations or Easter eggs or scenes to close up loopholes in the story during the credits, so that people can stay and watch and appreciate all of the work that these people have done to create this film. And they want you to stay and watch the credits. If you're at a movie premiere, especially, do not leave during the credits, because you've got the actors there, you've got the special effects artists, you've got people that were on teams. They're there in the theater. And you don't ever want to leave, because you really want to pay respect to all the people that are there. They want to see their name on the screen, so you sit and watch with them. You appreciate them. And very rarely you'll see people get up and leave during the credits because whatever, they have to go to the bathroom or they need to leave or whatever. But this time, people started coming into the theater. And it was, like I said, during the credits, people are starting to come in and then like go along the side of the theater and just start standing, like piles of people just start coming in, and then you're like, what is going on? Like, why are people coming in? Because usually you'll see people kind of trickling out. So people are starting to come into the theater. The credits go dark. The screen starts going up, and all of a sudden you see Taylor on the piano, and she starts playing, and everybody's going nuts. You can't even hear it in this video because everybody's starting to scream. But I'm like, where's my phone? I'm like trying to find my phone, trying to film to at least get some of the performance and just to show everybody what it was like. So if you watch the full performance, which I'm not going to put on here, you could see it in the very first reel that I put up, the full performance between her and Randy Newman. You'll see that I'm trying to like watch and trying to like zoom in, but then you'll see the camera kind of move. And because I'm trying to watch it with my own eyes at the same time as I'm trying to capture it for you guys. Anyway, after Taylor's performance, she comes down, she addresses the audience, she does a little speech, she introduces Randy Newman, everybody starts losing it. This was honestly such a surprise for everyone. Nobody had any idea that this would happen or that he was going to be there. People suspected she might be there, but this was like a true treat for everyone. Complete surprise. Nobody had any idea. So as soon as the performance is over, in true Adiza fashion, I grab Sky, we bolt out of there, we go straight to the after party. Now, if you know anything about Disney events, they are top notch. They are the best of the best. And we have about 45 minutes before Sky turns into a cranky pumpkin and she wants to leave. So because there are so many activities and activations, I have to move fast. So the entire Hollywood Boulevard area for the carpet turned into the after party. And as you can see, there were characters. They had the Lego Buzz over here. In the back area, like I had mentioned in the previous video, they had the Porsche area where you could take pictures of the Porsches. They had posters of the Porsches with the different characters. They had music throughout the entire place. They had a DJ playing music. Here you could see there's an activation where you can look at some merch. The Honest Company was there, and they had this beautiful station where you could take bandanas and embroider your name on it. And then they also gave little tote bags that had full-size products of their Honest line that featured Toy Story 5 characters. So in our bags, we got a 2-in-1 body shampoo wash as well as a face and body lotion. Go-Go Squeeze was there. They had these little tote bags that had a little Go-Go Squeeze inside of them. They had this saddle up horse race that featured some of the different horses that are in the movie. And you could actually like kind of wrangle in. So there's Sky playing the game and you're like reeling in some of the horses. And then when you win, you won a little keychain. The Laughing Cow and Baby Bell had a little snack station with like vegetables and their little cheeses. I definitely took a couple. They also sponsored this Rendezvous with Star Command rock wall where the kids were able to go up and climb up just like Buzz Lightyear in the movie. And I love how all of these little elements tie in with different parts of the movie. Okay, I'm going to try to breeze through all of these because there were so many activations. This was one of my favorite. This was called the Time Capsule, where you got one of the metal lunchboxes, which is featured in the movie, and you got to decorate it. We didn't decorate it right then and there. We got to take it home to go because we had so many stops and we had such little time. And then it also came with a Toy Story 5 school pack. Elmer's Glue hosted this Infinity and Beyond slime bar where you could make your own slime there at the event. They had the big giant lily pad from the movie where you could actually go there and play games. And then after the game, you could take a few photos, and those photos turned into a lenticular photo that they pressed and gave you at the end. I'm going to show you. So here they are pressing it after you take the photo through the lily pad, and you get to take that home. One of the first stations was Orajel that we went to. They gave out toothpaste, Toy Story 5 toothpaste to everyone. And then Snappy, I think that's the name of that character right there, is the one that you actually took a photo from at the photo booth. They had a You Got a Friend in Me friendship bracelet making station. This was the station that we were at the longest because it takes a really long time to make a friendship bracelet. But they had that there. Sharpie had a postcard coloring station where you could color these postcards using Sharpies. Unfortunately, I was unable to capture this other activation that they had hosted by Sharpie, but basically you would stand in line, you would take a photo, and then that photo would be drawn by a robotic arm, which was super, super cool. And then they would give you the portrait, and then with the portrait, they would give you a little goodie bag from Sharpie, and inside the goodie bag was a pack of these Sharpies right here, some Toy Story 5 Sharpies, as well as 4 Elmer's glue sticks. Now, as for the food, one of the sponsors was Papa John's. They had a pizza planet there of sorts where you get to pick the different flavors of pizza. Everybody got their own little personal pan, and on the different boxes were the different characters of Toy Story 5. Kellogg's was there handing out the toys that you would get from the cereal boxes at this cereal bar. And here you could help yourself to all the different cereals that they had. Of course, Yogurtland was there featuring some of their Toy Story 5 flavors. These were the toppings that they had for the Yogurtland, as well as a goodie bag that had a keychain, a giant spoon, and then a free coupon to go to Yogurtland. They also had regular catering. There's a salad, nacho bar, that's nacho cheese, pulled pork sliders, regular sliders, Impossible sliders. Inside this tray was mac and cheese with the panko breadcrumbs on top. And then in the one next to it was a tray of just French fries. They had multiple dessert stations. This was Dot Cake. They had Toy Story 5 shortbread cookies, and then they had Rice Krispie treats with different colors. Last but not least, they had this dirty soda bar, which you could create your own dirty soda, or you could just pick one off of the menu, but they had a variety of toppings and different pumps. And that was it. That was pretty much everything, I think. We didn't experience everything. We didn't get to do the robotic arm. We didn't get to do the bandanas. And then we also didn't get to do the rock climbing wall. There was a lot. There was a lot of stuff. So thank you if you made it to the end of this video. If you made it to the end of this series, you're a real one. Thank you so much. But also thank you, Disney Pixar, for the invitation. Sky and I had a blast. Core memories were made for sure. And I hope you guys see some of the products that were featured here at this after party out in the real world. And I hope you guys do see Toy Story 5 when it comes out on June 19th at a theater near you. So let me know what you think.